The alarm woke Kong Day from a restless sleep. He rolled off his bunk in the cramped quarters of the mining station and checked his datapad. Section 7 had registered an impact. Probably just another piece of space debris, but protocol said someone had to check it out. Day pulled on his work suit and grabbed his toolkit. The station was mostly empty these days. The mining company had pulled out 6 months ago when the ore ran dry. Only a handful of salvagers like him remained, picking through what was left behind. It was lonely work, but it paid enough to keep him moving from place to place. Section 7 was in the abandoned part of the station. The lights barely worked, and the air recyclers made horrible grinding sounds. Day followed the corridor until he reached the breach point. His breath caught in his throat. A ship had crashed through the outer hull. But this was no ordinary vessel. The metal was unlike anything he had seen before. It shimmered with colors that seemed to shift when he looked at them. Strange symbols covered the surface. This was alien technology, and it was far more advanced than anything humans possessed. Day approached carefully. The crash had torn open part of the ship's hull. He peered inside and saw movement. Someone was alive in there. He squeezed through the gap in the metal. Inside, the ship was beautiful despite the damage. Everything curved and flowed like it had been grown rather than built. And, there, slumped against a wall, was the alien. She was tall, taller than any human. Her skin looked like crystal, transparent in some places, catching the dim light and throwing it back in rainbow patterns. She wore armor that seemed to be part of her body. Blood, dark purple and thick, leaked from wounds across her torso. Her eyes opened as Day approached. They were completely black, like looking into deep space. She tried to reach for a weapon, but she was too weak. She said something in a language he did not understand. Her voice sounded like music and grinding metal at the same time. Day held up his hands to show he meant no harm. He pointed to her wounds and, then, to his medical kit. She watched him for a long moment, then gave a small nod. He worked quickly. Human medical supplies were not meant for alien biology, but wounds were wounds. He cleaned them, applied sealant foam, and wrapped them with bandages. She winced but did not cry out. Her skin changed colors while he worked, shifting from pale blue to deep purple to bright red. When he finished, she spoke again. This time her armor projected a hologram, and words appeared that he could read. The translation was rough but clear enough. "Why help enemy?" the word said. Day looked at her. "You're not my enemy. You're just someone who needs help." She studied him like he was a puzzle she could not solve. More words appeared. "I am Lyora, Queen of Velther Empire. You are human. Your kind is nothing to us." "Maybe," Day said. "But, right now, you're bleeding on this station, and I'm the only one here. So I guess I'm something." Before she could respond, his datapad beeped. Multiple ships had just entered the sector. They were scanning the station. Lyora's skin flashed bright red, then went pale. "They found me," she said through the translator. "My enemies. They will kill us both." Day thought fast. "Can you walk?" She tried to stand and nearly fell. He caught her, surprised at how heavy she was despite her crystalline appearance. She leaned on him, and they moved slowly back into the station corridors. For 3 days, they played a game of cat and mouse with the hunters. Day knew every corner of the station, every maintenance tunnel and forgotten storage room. He led them through paths that sensors could not easily track. He rigged false signals to draw the hunters away. He used every trick he had learned in years of salvage work. Lyora watched him with growing respect. She had never seen a human work before. Her people considered them primitive, barely worth noticing. But, this human moved through his environment like a predator who knew every shadow. He thought 3 steps ahead, anticipated problems, and solved them with whatever junk he found lying around. On the second night, hiding in a storage room while hunters passed nearby, Lyora spoke quietly. "Your people are seen as weak," she said. "As scavengers who take what others discard." Day shrugged. "We are scavengers. But, there's nothing wrong with that. We make use of what others waste. We survive when we're told we shouldn't. You have no empire. No great fleets. No worlds that bow to you." "No," Day agreed. "We don't. But, we're still here, aren't we? Still alive. Still moving forward." Lyora's skin shifted to a warm golden color. "I think I understand now. You do not survive despite being considered lesser. You survive because you never accepted that judgment." On the third night, they reached the communication hub. Lyora sent an encrypted signal to her loyal forces. Help would arrive by morning. They sat together in the darkness, waiting. "Tell me about your life," Lyora said. "How did you come to be here, alone in the darkness?" Day was quiet for a moment. "I had a sister. Minji. She worked the mines on Titan Station. There was an accident. 16 people died. The company paid out minimal compensation and moved on. I couldn't stay in that system anymore. Too many memories. So I started moving. Never staying anywhere long." "You are running from pain," Lyora said softly. "Maybe. Or maybe I'm just looking for a place where I fit." Lyora's skin shimmered. "I know that feeling. I wear a crown, but I am alone in ways you cannot imagine. Every decision affects billions. Every word is scrutinized. Every moment is performance. Sometimes I wonder what it would be like to simply be myself." "You are yourself right now," Day said. "No crown. No empire. Just Lyora, sitting in a dark room, waiting for rescue." She looked at him, and her black eyes seemed less alien somehow. "Yes. Just Lyora. And I think this is the most honest I have been in years." At dawn, ships arrived. Not the hunters, but royal vessels bearing Lyora's symbols. Her guards found them quickly. They surrounded Day with weapons drawn until Lyora ordered them to stand down. As they prepared to leave, Lyora took Day's hand. Her crystal skin was warm against his. "Find me," she said. "When this is over, when I have secured my throne, find me. I will be waiting." Day nodded, but he knew the truth. She was a queen of an empire. He was a nobody from nowhere. Their worlds were too different. When her guards were distracted with loading equipment, Day slipped away. He took a maintenance tunnel to the far side of the station and disappeared. By the time Lyora realized he was gone, he had already boarded a transport heading for the outer colonies. She stood at the airlock, searching the crowds on the dock below. Her skin flashed through a dozen colors, settling on deep blue. The color of sorrow. Her second-in-command approached. "Your Majesty, we must leave." Lyora watched the transport ships depart. One of them carried the human who had saved her life. The human who had asked for nothing in return. The human who had shown her that worth was not measured in power or status. "Find him," she said quietly. "I want every resource dedicated to locating this human. His name is Kong Day. Find him and bring him to me." But Kong Day was already gone, vanishing into the vast darkness between stars, carrying with him the memory of 3 days that changed everything. 5 years changed everything and nothing at all. Lyora sat on her throne, surrounded by advisors who spoke of trade agreements and military deployments. She nodded at the right moments and signed the documents placed before her. But her mind was elsewhere, always elsewhere, thinking about a human who had disappeared like smoke. Her search had been discreet at first. She sent agents to the mining station, but Kong Day had left no trace. He had used false names, paid in untraceable credits, and moved through the outer colonies like a ghost. Every lead went cold. Every tip led nowhere. "Your Majesty," her sister Myra said during a private dinner. "You must stop this obsession. The Council grows concerned. 5 years of searching for one human. They question your judgment." Lyora's skin flashed red. "They question my judgment because I seek someone who showed me true honor. Someone who asked for nothing in return for saving my life. They question your judgment because you refuse every marriage proposal from nobles of status while you hunt for a salvager from a species we barely acknowledge." Myra's voice was gentle but firm. "I understand what he meant to you. But, you are a queen. Your duty is to your people, not to a memory." Lyora stood and walked to the window. Her palace overlooked a city of crystal spires that caught the light of their sun and scattered it into millions of colors. Beautiful and cold, like everything in her life. "I have fulfilled every duty," she said quietly. "I have secured our borders, strengthened our economy, and maintained peace with our neighbors. But, in this one thing, I will not compromise." He showed me something I had never seen before. A way of thinking, of being, that we have lost. "He showed you weakness," Myra said. "Sentimentality." "No." Lyora turned. "He showed me strength. The strength to help without expecting reward. The strength to survive when the entire galaxy says you are nothing. That is not weakness." Across the galaxy, Kong Day worked on the hull of a transport ship. His hands moved with practiced efficiency, sealing a crack in the metal plating. The ship rocked gently as it floated in the repair dock. "Day, you coming for drinks?" Park Ji-ho called from below. "Hannah says first round is on her if we finish this job on time." 5 minutes, Day called back. He finished the weld and climbed down. Park Ji-ho waited, a grin on his face. They had been working together for 2 years now, ever since Day joined the crew of the Second Chance. Ji-ho was young, barely 20, with the kind of optimism that Day found both annoying and endearing. "You know," Ji-ho said as they walked to the station bar, "you never talk about your past. Everyone else tells stories, but you just work and sleep." "Nothing to tell," Day said. "Everyone has something to tell. Where are you from? What did you do before this? Do you have family?" "Had a sister. She died. End of story." Ji-ho was quiet for a moment. "Sorry. I did not mean to, it's fine. It was a long time ago." Captain Lee Hannah was already at the bar, nursing a drink. She was in her 40s, tough as nails, with scars that told stories she rarely shared. She had built the Second Chance from salvaged parts and sheer determination. "About time," she said when they arrived. "I was starting to think you'd found better company." They drank and talked about the next job. A station in the beta sector needed supplies delivered. Simple work, good pay. The kind of job that kept them fed and moving. But, Day felt restless. He had felt restless for 5 years, ever since he walked away from Lyora. He told himself it was the right choice. She was a queen. He was nobody. She deserved someone of her world, not a human salvager with nothing to offer. Still, he thought about her. About the way her skin changed colors with her emotions. About the conversations they had in the darkness of that station. About the loneliness he saw in her eyes, a loneliness that matched his own. "You're thinking too loud," Hannah said, interrupting his thoughts. "What?" "Whatever you're brooding about, it's written all over your face. Woman trouble." Day laughed despite himself. "Something like that. Let me guess. You met someone, things got complicated, and you ran away." "It's more complicated than that." It always is. Hannah ordered another round. But, running does not solve anything. Trust me, I know. I've been running for 20 years, and I'm still carrying the same weight I started with. Meanwhile, in the Velther Palace, Lyora studied reports about humanity. She had made it her mission to understand them. She read their histories, learned their languages, and followed their development across the stars. What she found fascinated her. Humans had no great empire, no advanced technology gifted to them by elder races. Everything they had, they built themselves. They clawed their way up from a single planet, facing setbacks that would have destroyed lesser species. They were dismissed by the greater powers as primitive and insignificant. But, Lyora saw what others missed. She saw potential. She saw a species that refused to accept limitations. She saw the same quality in all of them that she had seen in Kong-Day. Your Majesty, her chief advisor said during a council meeting, we have received another proposal. The Korvax Empire offers an alliance through marriage with Prince, declined, Lyora said without hesitation. Your Majesty, please reconsider. You have declined every proposal for 5 years. The council grows impatient. They will move to force your hand if you do not choose soon. Let them try. Lyora's skin flashed dangerous red. I am queen by right of blood and by right of victory. They cannot force me to do anything. But, she knew the truth. The council had power. If they united against her, they could make her reign very difficult. She needed to give them something. I will make them an offer, she said. I will choose a consort, but, on my terms. Give me 1 more year to find the one I seek. If I fail, I will accept a marriage of the council's choosing. The advisors exchanged looks. 1 year. It was something. We will present this to the council, the chief advisor said. After they left, Lyora stood alone in the council chamber. 1 year. 12 more months to find a man who did not want to be found. A man who had vanished into the vastness of space. She looked at the star maps displayed on the walls. Humanity's territory was small, a scattered collection of colonies on the edge of civilized space. But, it was vast enough to hide one man. I will find you, Kong-Day, she whispered to the empty room. I do not care how long it takes. I do not care how far I must search. You showed me something real in a life of pretense. I will not let that go. On the second chance, Day lay in his bunk and stared at the ceiling. Sleep would not come. It rarely did anymore. He thought about Lyora's final words to him. Find me. But, he had done the opposite. He had run as far and as fast as he could. Because love between a queen and a salvager was impossible. Because he had nothing to offer her. Because the galaxy would never accept them. All the reasons made sense. All the logic was sound. But, his heart did not care about logic. Damn it, he muttered into the darkness. Outside his window, stars stretched endlessly in all directions. Somewhere out there, Lyora sat on her throne. Somewhere out there, she was thinking about him, just as he was thinking about her. 5 years of distance. 5 years of running. And, both of them were still alone. Nexus 9 was chaos given physical form. The massive station orbited a neutral star system where dozens of species came to trade, negotiate, and, occasionally fight. It was the kind of place where you could disappear in the crowds or get noticed for all the wrong reasons. Kong-Day walked through the market district with Jiho and Hannah. They had delivered their cargo and now had 3 days of leave before the next job. The air smelled like 100 different worlds, and the sounds were a mix of languages both familiar and alien. I'm getting some Terran food, Jiho announced. Real Earth food, not the synthetic stuff we eat on the ship. Anyone want to join? Go ahead, Hannah said. I need to check in with some contacts about future work. Day, you coming with me or eating with the kid? Day was about to answer when he saw her. She stood across the marketplace, surrounded by guards in ceremonial armor. Her crystal skin caught the light and threw it back in waves of color. She wore robes that marked her as royalty, and every being in the area gave her space out of respect or fear. Lyora. Their eyes met across the distance. Time seemed to stop. Her skin flashed through a dozen colors in rapid succession. Surprise. Joy. Anger. Pain. All of it written in the shifting hues of her body. Day. Hannah's voice sounded far away. You okay? You look like you've seen a ghost. Lyora was already moving toward him. Her guards tried to keep up, but she moved with purpose, her eyes locked on his face. The crowd parted before her like water. Day's first instinct was to run. 5 years of running, and the habit was strong. But his feet would not move. He stood frozen as she approached. Kong Day, she said when she reached him. Her voice was the same, that strange music and metal sound. Her translator projected words above her head. 5 years. 5 years I have searched for you. Your Majesty, Day said quietly. He could feel dozens of eyes on them. I did not expect to see you here. Did you not? Her skin flashed red. Or did you simply hope you never would? Tell me, why did you vanish? Why did you never come to find me? He struggled for words. What could he say? That he thought she deserved better. That he was afraid. It was for the best. The best? The red in her skin deepened. The best was for me to spend 5 years searching the galaxy. The best was for me to refuse every marriage proposal because none of them were you. Tell me, Kong Day, what part of that was best? Hannah and Jiho stood nearby, mouths open in shock. Other species in the marketplace watched with interest. Humans and Velther royalty did not interact like this. Something significant was happening. I'm a salvager, Day said. You're a queen. Our worlds are too different. You are a fool, Lyora said. You saved my life and asked for nothing. You showed me honor and kindness when you had no reason to. You made me see your people differently. And you think our worlds being different matters? Yes, Day said. It does matter. What would you have me do? Come to your palace and be what? Your pet human. Someone the nobles mock. I have pride, Lyora. I won't be a curiosity in your court. Before she could respond, an explosion rocked the station. Alarms blared. People screamed and ran in all directions. A section of the marketplace collapsed in flames. Assassination attempt, one of Lyora's guards shouted. Protect the queen. More explosions followed. Armed soldiers in dark armor emerged from the smoke, firing weapons at Lyora's position. These were not random terrorists. This was organized and well-planned. Day's training kicked in. He grabbed Lyora and pulled her behind a vendor's stall just as energy blasts cut through the air where she had been standing. Her guards returned fire, but they were outnumbered. We need to move, Day said. This position is not defensible. My guards are trained to protect you, and they'll do their job better if you're not here. He looked around, analyzing the environment. There, the maintenance corridor. It leads to the lower levels. Hannah and Jiho had taken cover nearby. Hannah had produced a pistol from somewhere, and Jiho was helping injured civilians get to safety. Hannah, Day called. We need covering fire. On it. Hannah began shooting at the attackers with calm precision. Go. We'll handle this. Day led Lyora toward the corridor, moving fast but careful. Her guards followed, creating a protective formation. More attackers appeared from side passages, but Day seemed to anticipate them. He took routes that avoided the main combat zones, used the chaos as cover, and found paths that others missed. They reached the lower levels, but the attackers were still coming. These were professionals who had planned this assault carefully. They knew the station layout and had cut off most escape routes. "They are the same ones who tried to kill me 5 years ago," Lyora said as they ran. "The faction that wants to see me removed from power. They have allied with others who fear what I represent." "What do you represent?" Day asked. "Change. I have been supporting your people, Day. Secretly funneling resources and technology to human colonies. I believe humanity deserves a place in the galactic community, and there are many who disagree." They reached a junction point. Day stopped and thought fast. He had been on Nexus 9 a few times before. He knew the station's basic layout. "This way," he said, leading them down a narrow passage. "That leads to the waste processing," one of the guards said. "It's a dead end." "No," Day said. "It connects to the power distribution tunnels. They're not on most maps, but salvagers know about them." They followed his lead, and he was right. The passage connected to a maintenance network that ran throughout the station. They moved through the tunnels while the sounds of fighting echoed above them. Lyora watched Day work. He moved with confidence through this maze of pipes and cables. He checked corners before turning them. He listened to sounds that she could not identify. This was a human in his element, and it was beautiful to watch. "You do this naturally," she said. "Think ahead, adapt to problems, survive with whatever you have available." "It's what we do," Day said. "Humans don't have the luxury of overwhelming force. We have to be smart and fast." They reached a safe room near the station's core. Lyora's guard secured the area while Day checked the security feeds on a nearby terminal. The fighting was spreading throughout the station, but backup was arriving. Security forces were pushing the attackers back. "We should be safe here until this is over," Day said. Lyora stood close to him. Too close. Her crystalline skin shimmered with golden light. "You saved me again," she said softly. "Just like 5 years ago. Anyone would have, no." She placed a hand on his chest. Her touch was warm despite her crystal appearance. "Not anyone. You. You saw the danger and acted without hesitation. You knew the station and found a path others missed. You protected me not because I am a queen, but because it was the right thing to do." Day looked into her black eyes. "I never stopped thinking about you. Every day for 5 years, I thought about those 3 days on the station. About our conversations. About the way you looked at me like I mattered. You do matter." Her skin rippled with emotion. "You matter more than you know. These attackers fear what I am doing because they understand what you do not. Humanity is rising. Your people are spreading across the stars, and they are showing the same qualities you showed me. Determination. Innovation. The refusal to accept limitations. And you want to help us. I want to stand beside you. Not above you, not below you, but beside you. As equals." Day laughed bitterly. "The galaxy will never see us as equals. Then, we change the galaxy." Lyora's skin blazed with golden light. "That is what you do, is it not? You take the impossible and make it possible. You survive when others say you cannot. Why should this be different?" Before Day could answer, Hannah's voice came through his communicator. "Day, you alive down there? We're safe. What's the situation?" "Attackers are retreating. Station security has things under control. But, you need to see this. Every news feed in the galaxy is showing footage of you protecting the Velther Queen. You're famous now." Day closed his eyes. So much for staying hidden. Lyora smiled. It seems the choice has been made for us. You cannot disappear now. The whole galaxy knows your face. You planned this, Day said. No. But, I am not sorry it happened. She took his hand. Come with me. Come to my world and, see what I have built. See why I need you. Day looked at their joined hands. Her crystal fingers intertwined with his human ones. 2 different species. 2 different worlds. But, somehow, it felt right. One condition, he said. Name it. My crew comes with me. Hannah and Jiho. I won't leave them behind. Lyora's skin shimmered with pleasure. Of course. They are yours, so they are welcome. Above them, the station slowly returned to normal. But, nothing would ever be normal again. The galaxy had seen a human protecting a Velther queen. They had seen the beginning of something new. And, Kongday had stopped running. Velther Prime was beautiful in a way that made Kongday's chest ache. The entire planet seemed to be made of crystal and light. Towering spires reached into the sky, catching the sun and breaking it into rainbows. Gardens grew with plants that glowed softly in the darkness. Everything was perfect, ordered, and cold. It's like living inside a jewel, Jiho whispered as their shuttle descended toward the capital. I've never seen anything like it. Hannah said nothing, but her jaw was tight. She did not trust beautiful things. In her experience, beauty was often used to hide ugly truths. Day felt the weight of eyes on him as they landed. Velther citizens watched from balconies and walkways. Their skin colors shifted as they observed the humans. Blues and greens, the colors of curiosity and suspicion. Some flashed red with anger. They don't want us here, Day said to Lyora. They do not know what they want, Lyora replied. Her skin was steady gold, the color of determination. But, they will learn. The palace was even more impressive than the city. Rooms stretched endlessly, each one more grand than the last. Servants moved silently through corridors. Everything had its place, and everyone knew their role. Day felt like a stain on clean glass. The first dinner with the council was a disaster. 12 Velther nobles sat around a table that seemed designed to make humans feel small. They spoke in their own language, only occasionally using translators. They looked at Day and his crew like interesting insects. Lord Kelver, a massive Velther with skin that shifted between purple and black, was the worst. He sat at Lyora's right hand, a position of honor, and made his contempt clear. So this is the human that has captured our queen's attention, Kelver said. His translator made his voice sound smooth and dangerous. A salvager. How fascinating. Lord Kelver, Lyora said, her skin flashing warning red. You will show respect. Of course, your majesty. I meant no offense. But, his skin told a different story, rippling with mocking colors. I am simply curious what makes this particular human so special. Humans are barely spacefaring. They have no empire, no great achievements. They scavenge the leavings of greater civilizations. We survive, Day said quietly. That's achievement enough. Survival is what insects do, Kelver said. Civilization requires more. Hannah's hand moved toward her sidearm, but Day shook his head slightly. Starting a fight here would accomplish nothing. After dinner, Lyora showed them her private chambers. Here, away from the formal spaces, she had created something different. Books from a dozen worlds lined the shelves. Art from various cultures decorated the walls. And, in one corner, technical manuals about human technology and history. You've been studying us, Day said. For 5 years, Lyora confirmed. I wanted to understand. Your species fascinates me. You should have failed dozens of times in your history. Wars, plagues, environmental disasters. Any one of them should have ended you. But, you survived. More than survived. You grew stronger. We're stubborn, Jiho said with a grin. It's kind of our thing. Lyora's skin rippled with amusement. Yes. Stubborn. That is a good word for it. Over the next few days, Lyora showed them what she had been working on. Secret projects to funnel resources to human colonies. Plans to establish formal trade agreements. Proposals to give humanity full recognition in the galactic community. This is why they want you dead, they realized. You're trying to change the entire power structure. The current structure is stagnant, Lyora said. The great empires have grown comfortable. They compete with each other but never truly challenge themselves. Humanity represents something different. You are hungry. You innovate because you must. You refuse to accept that the galaxy has already decided your place. And, you think we can change things? I know you can. I have seen it. But, first, the council must be convinced. That night, Day could not sleep. He walked through the palace gardens, lost in thought. He found Hannah there, smoking something that smelled like burnt electronics. Can't sleep either, she asked. Too much on my mind. You know this is crazy, right? A human and a Velther queen. The whole galaxy thinks you're insane. Probably, Day admitted. But, you love her anyway. It was not a question. Day nodded. Then, fight for it, Hannah said. I've known you for 2 years, Day. You're good at running, but you're better at standing your ground when it matters. Make it matter. The council session came 3 days later. Lyora had been summoned to answer for her unauthorized support of humanity. The entire council sat in a grand chamber, their skin colors creating a shifting display of light and shadow. Lord Kelver presented the evidence. Transaction records, supply shipments, secret communications. All of it laid out in careful detail. Your Majesty has violated council protocol, Kelver said. She has committed our resources without approval. She has formed attachments to an inferior species. She has compromised her judgment. We move to remove her from the throne. The chamber erupted in discussion. Some council members supported Kelver. Others defended Lyora. The debate grew heated. Lyora stood before them, her skin calm gold despite the chaos. I have broken no laws. The resources I used were my own. The decisions I made were within my authority. If you wish to challenge me, you must provide legal grounds. Your judgment is compromised, another council member said. You have formed an emotional attachment to a human. This clouds your ability to rule. Does it? Lyora gestured to Day. This human saved my life, asking nothing in return. He demonstrated qualities that we claim to value but rarely practice. Honor. Courage. Compassion. If recognizing these qualities is a flaw in my judgment, then, I accept that flaw. He is beneath you, Kelver said. Humans are beneath us all. Then, let him prove otherwise, Lyora said. Let him speak before this council. Let him show you what I have seen. The council members looked at each other, uncertain. Finally, the eldest member spoke. Very well. Let the human speak. But, choose your words carefully, Salvager. Your queen's fate may rest on them. Day stood. Every eye in the chamber focused on him. He felt small and insignificant. These were beings who controlled entire star systems. He was just a man who fixed broken ships. But, then, he thought about his sister. About Hannah and Jiho. About every human struggling to make a life among the stars. About Lyora, who had spent 5 years searching for him because she believed in something better. You're right, Day said. Humans are beneath you. We always have been. We don't have your technology. We don't have your power. We barely have a few dozen colonies scattered across space. Kelver's skin rippled with satisfaction. But, Day was not finished. But, you know what we do have? We have the understanding that nothing is given. Everything must be earned. You were born into greatness. Your civilization was old when ours was young. You never had to fight for every scrap, never had to innovate just to survive another day. He moved to the center of the chamber. My sister died in a mining accident. 16 people died that day because the company cut corners to save money. You know what happened next? The survivors organized. They demanded better safety standards. They fought the company in courts they could barely afford. And, they won. Not because they had power, but because they refused to accept that their lives did not matter. The chamber was silent now. Even Kelver's skin had stilled. That's what humans do, Day continued. We get knocked down, and we get back up. We face impossible odds, and we find a way. Not because we're special, but because we don't have any other choice. And, maybe that's what the galaxy needs. A reminder that greatness is not about what you're born with. It's about what you do with what you have. He looked at Lyora. Your queen sees this. She understands that humanity represents something you've lost. The hunger to improve. The drive to push beyond limitations. She's not compromised. She's evolved. Hannah stepped forward. I'm Captain Lee Hannah. I've served in human space for 20 years. I've seen us at our worst and our best. Everything this man says is true. We're scrappy. We're stubborn. We refuse to stay down. And, if you give us a chance, we'll surprise you. Jiho joined them. I'm Park Jiho. I'm just a pilot. But, I fly ships that others say can't be flown. I navigate through conditions that should be impossible. Because humans don't accept impossible. We make it possible. The council members sat in silence, their skin colors shifting as they processed what they had heard. Finally, the eldest spoke. You speak well, humans. You have given us much to consider. But, before the discussion could continue, alarms blared throughout the palace. Emergency lights flashed. A guard burst into the chamber. Council members, we are under attack. Multiple fleets have entered our system. They demand the Queen surrender herself or they will destroy the capital. The chamber erupted in panic. Kelver's skin flashed with something that might have been fear or might have been satisfaction. It seems, Lyora said, her voice cutting through the noise, that the galaxy has already decided. They will not allow change without a fight. She looked at Day. Now we see if your words were true. Can humanity stand beside us when everything is at stake? Day smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of a man who had nothing left to lose. Let's find out. The war room of the Velther Palace looked like controlled chaos. Holographic displays showed the enemy fleet in orbit. Hundreds of ships from a dozen different species, all united in their desire to stop what Lyora represented. The Velther military scrambled to respond, but they had been caught unprepared. They coordinated this, Lyora's chief military advisor said. The council session was a distraction. They knew when our defenses would be weakest. Lord Kelver stood in the corner, his skin carefully neutral. Too neutral. Day watched him and understood. The betrayal had come from within. You sold her out, Day said quietly. You told them when to attack. Kelver's skin flashed briefly red before returning to neutral. I saved us from a foolish queen who would drag us down to the level of primitives. Better she falls than our entire civilization. Guards, Lyora commanded. Arrest Lord Kelver for treason. Before the guards could move, Kelver produced a weapon. Energy blasts filled the room. Guards fell. Kelver moved toward Lyora with murder in his eyes. Day reacted on instinct. He tackled Kelver from the side, both of them crashing through a holographic display. Kelver was stronger, his crystal body much harder than human flesh. But, Day fought with the desperation of someone protecting what mattered most. They struggled. Kelver's fist connected with Day's ribs, and, something cracked. Day gasped but, did not let go. He grabbed a piece of broken equipment and, smashed it against Kelver's head. The Velther stumbled. Hannah was there then, her pistol trained on Kelver's head. "Don't move, or I put a hole in that pretty crystal face." Kelver snarled but, stopped. The guards secured him quickly, dragging him away. His skin flashed with rage and hatred. "You have doomed us all," he spat at Lyora. "The humans will destroy everything we have built." "No," Lyora said. "They will help us build something better." She turned to the military advisors. "Status of our defenses? We can hold them for a time, but we are outnumbered. They have 5 ships for every one of ours." Lyora looked at Day. "You said you could contact human space. Can you do it now?" Day nodded, ignoring the pain in his ribs. "Give me a communication terminal." He sent out a broad signal to every human colony, every independent ship, every salvager and freight hauler in range. The message was simple. "This is Kong Day. The Velther are under attack by forces that want to keep humanity down. If the Velther fall, we're next. This is our chance to prove ourselves. This is our chance to show the galaxy what humans can do. Who's with me?" The response was immediate. Ship after ship confirmed they were coming. Hundreds of vessels, maybe thousands, all converging on Velther space. They were not military ships. They were cargo haulers, mining vessels, personal transports. Whatever humans had available. "They're coming," Day said. "I don't know if it will be enough, but, they're coming." The first human ships arrived within hours. They were a ragged fleet compared to the enemy's organized formations. But, they fought with a ferocity that shocked everyone watching. Captain Hannah took command of a wing of fighters. She led them through an asteroid field that the enemy could not navigate safely. They used the rocks as weapons, pushing them into enemy flight paths, creating chaos. Jiho flew a modified transport ship like it was a fighter. He performed maneuvers that should have torn the vessel apart, but, somehow he held it together. He drew enemy fire away from Velther ships, dancing through space with impossible grace. More humans arrived every hour. They brought creative tactics that the enemy had not anticipated. They jury-rigged weapons from mining equipment. They used communications jamming in ways that confused entire squadrons. They fought dirty, fought smart, and refused to give up. In the palace, Day coordinated between human and Velther forces. He found patterns in the chaos. He matched human unpredictability with Velther strength, creating combinations that worked better than either species alone. There, he pointed at a holographic display. The enemy's command ship is coordinating their entire fleet. If we can disable it, their formation will fall apart. It is too well defended, a Velther admiral said. We would lose half our forces trying to reach it. Not if we approach differently. Day pulled up a map. Human ships create a diversion here and here. They'll expect a frontal assault. But, a small team goes through the debris field they're ignoring. The wreckage will hide our approach. That debris field is a navigation nightmare. We would need a pilot with exceptional skill. I know one, Day said. 30 minutes later, Jiho piloted a small Velther strike ship through the graveyard of destroyed vessels. Day sat beside him, monitoring sensors. Behind them, 3 Velther commandos prepared their weapons. This is insane, Jiho said, grinning. I love it. They wove through spinning metal and frozen explosions. Sensors showed enemy ships passing nearby, but none of them looked at the debris field. Who would hide there? Humans would. They reached the command ship's blind spot. The commandos deployed, cutting through the hull and infiltrating the vessel. Day and Jiho waited, ready for a quick extraction. The enemy command ship suddenly went dark. Its weapons stopped firing. Its communication signals cut out. The enemy fleet lost its coordination, ship suddenly, unsure what to do. The Velther and human forces pressed the advantage. Without central command, the enemy fleet began to break apart. Ships retreated. Others tried to form new formations but lacked leadership. Within an hour, the battle turned decisively. The enemy coalition withdrew, their careful plans shattered by human ingenuity and Velther power working together. In the aftermath, Lyora stood before the council once more. But, this time, they were not her judges. They were witnesses to something new. You saw what happened, she said. Humans and Velther working together achieved what neither could alone. This is what I have been trying to show you. The galaxy is changing. We can change with it, or we can be left behind. The eldest council member stood. His skin was pale blue, the color of respect. We have seen enough. Humanity has proven its worth. They fought for us when they had no obligation to do so. They demonstrated qualities we thought were myths from our own past. He looked at Day. The Council formally recognizes humanity as a sovereign power with all rights and protections. We offer a formal alliance between our peoples. Cheers erupted from the human ships listening to the broadcast. Across human space, people celebrated. They had been dismissed for so long, and now they stood as equals. Lyora approached Day. Her skin glowed with pure golden light. You did it. You proved them wrong. We did it, Day corrected. Humans and Velther together. Together, she agreed. Is that how you want it? Will you stay with me? Not as a curiosity or a pet, but as my equal, my partner. Day looked around the chamber. At the council members whose skin showed respect instead of contempt. At Hannah and Jiho, who had become family. At the holographic displays showing human and Velther ships flying in formation. I spent 5 years running from the impossible, he said. I told myself that a salvager and a queen could never work. That our worlds were too different. But, I was wrong. We're not that different. We both want to build something better. We both refuse to accept limitations. He took her hand. Yes. I'll stay. I'll stand beside you and help build this new future. Lyora's skin blazed with joy. She pulled him close, and, in that moment, the entire galaxy watched a human and a Velther queen embrace. It was not political. It was not calculated. It was simply two beings who had found each other against all odds. Weeks later, Day stood on a balcony overlooking the capital. The city was being rebuilt, but now human workers stood alongside Velther. The two species shared techniques, learned from each other, built something new together. Hannah joined him. So, Captain Day, how does it feel to be a galactic hero? He laughed. Captain? I'm not a captain. You are now. Lyora offered you command of the joint human-Velther patrol fleet. Someone has to keep teaching these species how to work together. What about the second chance? I'm passing it to Jiho. Kid earned it. Besides, I'm getting too old for salvage work. Think I'll try my hand at politics. Someone needs to represent human interests in all these new negotiations. Day looked at the horizon where human ships patrolled alongside Velther vessels. We really did it. We changed everything. That's what humans do, Hannah said. Give us nothing, and we turn it into everything. Give us a chance, and we'll change the galaxy. That night, Day and Lyora sat together in her private chambers. The formal robes were gone. The weight of duty was set aside for a moment. They were just two people who had found each other in the vastness of space. Do you regret it? Lyora asked. The life you left behind? I spent 5 years running from myself, Day said. From pain, from connection, from anything that might hurt me. But, you taught me that running is not living. Sometimes you have to stop and fight for what matters. And, I taught myself that a crown means nothing if you wear it alone. Her skin rippled with soft colors. We will face challenges. There will be those who oppose this alliance, who think we moved too fast. Let them come, Day said. We've proven we can handle impossible odds. Through the window, stars stretched endlessly in all directions. Human colonies and Velther worlds, once separate, now connected by new bonds. The galaxy was vast, but it felt smaller now. More united. Somewhere out there, other species watched and wondered. If humans could rise from nothing to stand as equals with the great powers, what did that mean for the old order? What changes were coming? The galaxy would never underestimate humanity again. And, Kong Day, the salvager who saved a queen, had found what he was looking for. Not wealth or power or status. But, a place where he belonged. A future worth fighting for. He had stopped running. And, in stopping, he found everything.